guys, it just fell off the cliff. I've just finished some SEO analysis and delivered some strategy advice to a client in UX design, website design. It's a bit different. They're a national business that looks after non-profits, government organizations, and there's a big word of accessibility. So when blind people need to read a Centrelink website, for example, or NDIS and things like that. So it's a niche on its own. So it's not while I know the general direction of the keywords that we want to show up on Google for, let me share some of this data. So it's a website agency, right? They perform UX services, and so all of my SEO audits, all of my analysis begins with having a very quick look at their website assets. How many backlinks do they have? How many pages do they have? From there, I begin to understand what are the key terms that people are searching that would help us, right? So obviously, web agency, Melbourne, UX agency, accessibility agency, all of those key terms a lot of those I discovered. And so I look at the website assets, I look at the desired keywords that this business wants to show up for, and then I go and deconstruct the competitors and I see how strong their web assets are. Kind of an architect looks at the AutoCAD drawings of a house. I look at the cogs under the hood of a website. I look at the pages they have, the titles on the pages, the blogs, guides, that kind of stuff, backlinks and things like that. First things first is when I looked up this graph, looks like something just fell off a cliff. Now, when I dug a bit further, I quickly discovered, I shouldn't laugh. I do this as well. I just don't do it under my domain. So what was happening is this client was building a website for a childcare and they used their domain as the staging site. It makes sense, I get it. Web agencies will use all sorts of staging sites, and in this case it was the agency domain and then and then staging site, or vice versa. And so they built out the website, but the website wasn't de-indexed. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at this. But what ended up happening was this chart is an increase in the brand of the childcare coming to this development stage of the site. I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but I don't have the words to like. And so I discovered this, and I was like, we need to clean this up. We need to de-index this, because right now your web agency, US agency, is now showing up for the brand of the childcare, right? And it was a network of childcare, so a lot of people are looking for that childcare. Like those users are hitting a development page. Hopefully it was beautifully finalized. I don't know if it was functioning in terms of leads and things like that. But so once they fixed it up, they de-index those pages, down the traffic goes. So the explanation of this traffic, it's not looking healthy. They're sitting at 51 organic visitors a month from Google based on keywords they're ranked for. Obviously this is an estimation. They are receiving more traffic because my tools don't calculate direct website visits. They don't calculate someone coming from social media. These are just estimation tools, right? SEMrush says 28 organic visitors a month. So look, this is not a good looking graph. This is not good at all. I'm looking at 21,000 backlinks coming from 230 domains. That makes sense to me. Generally what web agencies do is they will place a footer link to credit themselves for designing the website. So that makes sense. Lots of backlinks, which explains the high domain rating. Now, domain rating is a made up metric, guys. While it's nice to have a bigger number, what really matters is real traffic that's hitting the site. So here we have a lot of link builders will be like, yeah, we just want high domain rating. We've got high domain rating, reasonably high, but the traffic is like, it's non-existent. There's not much going on here. So it just goes to show when you go to buy links, just do a bit more analysis on the kind of domain you're buying links from. Where's the link coming from? Contextual. Is that page indexed, right? Does that page get traffic? Does that website get traffic? Anyway, I don't want to get off on a side tangent. So then I had a look at, a lot of mistakes. So look, I shouldn't say mistakes. This is quite normal for a site with no SEO housekeeping done. While this is definitely bad, I found 76 pages that were essentially what we call orphan pages, which don't have any links going to them. So if you're not linking to those pages, means you're like agreeing that those pages aren't really giving much value to the World Wide Web, so why have them? Let's hide them. In this case, I identified that these were just blank pages. I don't know why they were there, yet to get an answer from the client, but basically identify that these 76 pages can just be deleted. And those 76 pages will actually clean up a lot of the other issues. So there were 94 really bad errors on the site, 215 warnings. Now, a warning might be slow page. A slow page is not good. However, the Ahrefs crawler might crawl from like San Francisco, from America, or from Singapore, and this website is in Australia. So take that with a grain of salt. However, on those pages that this Ahrefs is telling me that it's slow, have a look at the images, like really basic stuff. There could genuinely be issues with speed. So do like a GT metrics and run it from like Sydney or Melbourne, right? And just take things with a grain of salt. H1 tag, empty or missing, not good. Every website should have a H1, H2, sometimes a H3, if relevant. But what we found was, if we fix up these 76, it'll fix up these 75, because it's the same pages that we're missing. So this is a big issue. That'll actually put a lot of things into the green. So we try to hover at the 99, 95 to 99. A lot of the time you can't get perfect metrics with these things, because at the end of the day, these are third-party tools. Take them with a grain of salt. Run an Ahrefs audit, run a SEMrush audit, and something in between. We also use Sitebulb, but it picks up more or less the same stuff. Screaming Frog is a really cool one as well. So almost all pages had an issue with structured schema, so validation errors. Yeah, page SERP titles do not match. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So in other words, I found lots of homework for the development team. Obviously, it's a web agency, UX agency. Should they know about these things? Not really. These are sort of things that you only look at when you start the SEO process. These are like just housekeeping things. So it's actually quite normal for an everyday website to have these errors, okay? Because once again, I'm viewing it with SEO in mind. Not everything needs to have SEO in mind. Julio, take it easy, mate. It's just our neighbor. Then I had a look at the monthly search volumes nationally, right? Now, these are just the top 20 key terms. Website design gets searched in Google 5,400 times nationally a month. This is a keyword difficulty calculator where it's an internal calculator essentially where I assess how difficult it would be to rank for that keyword. Now, 96 is extremely difficult, but I also know that it's a calculation of how powerful the backlinks are on the top 10 websites. And if these are web designers, what web designers generally do is they put a footer link into the footer of the client's website. That makes sense as to why this is 96, because you're going to have scenarios like this where it's 230 domains that this client has worked on potentially, or let's say 100, and it's linking out 21,000 times. So I understand why that number is much higher. So I'm not afraid of it. But generally speaking, it's a really rough calculation of which keyword. So for example, web designers near me would be a much easier keyword to rank for than this one here. But near me implying Google Maps near me, like close to near me. Website designers near me, there it is as well. And so cost per click USD, this is also a lie, times that by about 3. So web design is about 15 USD a click, 20 bucks, probably more. But this is just a rough calculation, and all I look at is, are there any kind of patterns? Is there a keyword here? What's the lowest keyword? 27 for website development, Wollongong. That makes sense. Not many, I'm sure there's lots of website development in Wollongong, but nowhere near as much as Melbourne or Sydney. So essentially I'm presenting to the client, hey, here's the chunk of the pie. Here are how people are searching for what you do. I also set up a rank tracker. This tracker essentially searches and tells the client where they rank at a certain date. It refreshes once a month so the client can see where they're tracking. Now, I normally include way more competitors, but because this space is so UX design, web design, so saturated, there's so many websites out there, I didn't actually spend too much time on this space. But I did find a competitor, and they do the web accessibility thing, which is the main keyword. I also identified why this huge traffic drop happened. They failed to redirect a homepage to the new homepage, and they'll recover this, no worries, but there's a lot of other stuff that came up. So I enjoy just seeing this and being like, okay, why does that happen? So what you do, you go into Wayback Machine and you look at the history of this website, and anyway. So I had a look at the keywords that this competitor is showing up for, and I also went and deconstructed their main pages. Now obviously we're only looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their main pages, but I can see 1, 2, 3 are blogs on website analysis, web design development, web development process. So these are obviously blog/guides on the topic. We should do them as well, right? Here we go, website services, web development services. Okay, so clear cut an SEO page with the H1. I also identified that they're running a Google ad to this particular landing page, and it's actually one of the keywords that we want to rank for. So hint, potentially a Google ad in this space might fast track and allow you to test what will happen if we at some stage rank for that key term. Here's another competitor sitting on a cool 18,000 visitors a month. They took a big hit. I don't know why. I didn't spend the time researching this. And then a monster competitor at 80,000 visitors a month that was directly bidding Google Ads traffic on some desired keywords. Now, I also provided some guidance on supporting content. I'm a big believer of building trust with Google can be done many ways, but a main one that we always start off with is we go and research the shit out of the topic. So the topic might be, what was it? WCAG, right? So if we Google WCAG as an example, obviously that's a key term that we want to show up for. You will have people also asked. Now, since 2014, even before that, I discovered that, hey, Google is actually sharing with us the algorithm. If we want to get more traffic for this particular term, WCAG, we should write a blog. What is WCAG standard? Is WCAG a legal requirement in Australia? So maybe that might be the H2. So we're already starting to see the structure of the blogs. Now, in the past, we've gone and just created like 100 blogs where we're pretty much mulling over the same topic more than once. We don't do that anymore because Google has begun to clean up the internet, and but all of those key points should be answered in a one high quality long form guide like blog that has the author page, ideally an author with a mature, powerful LinkedIn account or a YouTube channel or some sort of a proof of authority that this is not an AI robot or Eugene's one of million aliases, that because that stuff worked for many years until AI came about and AI begun pumping out billions of articles on the same topic, highly researched. So Google's having a hard time identifying which content is trustworthy. This started happening a while back, but essentially what I've got going on here is advice on exactly the kind of blogs that this website needs on each topic. And so let's say website development gets its own 20-30 blogs. UX design gets its own 20-30 blogs. This WSA-CAG legal requirement gets 20-30 blogs. So when Google crawls that, those blogs are interlinked with one another. It begins to see a map of high quality content. It trusts us more because all of this content is giving value to the World Wide Web. Someone that is Googling what is WCAG standard can land on that website and learn. Means get value, means spend time on the website. Google rewards spending time on a website because they came from Google, means they're going to be coming from Google again in the future. They trust Google. That means Google can make the $85 billion ad revenue, etc. At the end of the day, it's money in Google's pocket by delivering a good experience to the user. So it's like a win, right? So to sum it up, I identified that we needed a whole bunch of SEO service pages. It's just a page where you're explaining to Google what services you do and where you do them. UX Design Agency Melbourne, UX Design Agency Sydney, UX Design Agency Brisbane. I don't make this stuff up. Just type in those keywords into Google and you will see a permalink structure from competitors where it's either the homepage of that agency that is in Brisbane, and it's like that's where they're dominant, so that homepage will show up, or people that have multi-locations, multi-offices will have / Sydney office, / Brisbane office. Okay, so we have to do that. It's still something that we've been doing for the last 15 years. It still works. You just need to prove to Google that you service those clients in those areas. So plan of action on SEO pages, plan of action of a whole bunch of housekeeping stuff that needs to be fixed. A lot of this can be handled pretty quickly. There's like an 80-20 will get us to 90 really quickly, then submit it to Google Search Console, let them marinate through. Now we've got a rank tracker set up to track success. Here's your keyword volumes. Let's now dissect which ones are most relevant to us, and based on the ones that are most relevant to us, let's then go and make a content plan with these PAA people also ask questions and create meaningful content that shares with the world. And that, with time, you marinate that, it will rank. It will start to get respect with Google, which means they reward that with traffic. Obviously, backlinks are incredibly important. Backlinks to these blogs, backlinks to the service pages, citations, all kind of backlinks from high authority, real websites that are niche relevant. That's the goal. Hope this has been helpful. Looking forward to see how this marinates through the ranks.